This is the observation.
Let's talk about the deity Baal. In Anita's piece, we see Baal has her crown in a lower realm. What I understand about gods is that they are times. They are energetic places of time, of reality. So Solomon is Sol, which is sun, and Oman is moon. Yahweh is Yah, moon. Yahshua is Yah, moon, Shua, sun. And Osiris is Oz, and Iris, the goddess of the rainbow. They are places of duality. So with this understanding, let's dig deep into the understanding of who these deities are, not from written history, but from the looking glass perspective and the power of observation. We do know that Baal is the son of Dagon the fish god, and Dagon the fish god seems to be a water chaotic god that Catholicism reveres with the garments that the Catholic priests often wear. So let's dig deep into why Baal would have Anita's crown in a lower realm. The power of observation is looking at the things that aren't apparent. Like, look at the crown with the name Baal on it. The name Baal is split into B-A and then A-L. There is the letter X and Y. X and Y chromosomes have to do with our genes. The crown itself makes the letter MM or the letter WW. This reflects a mirror reality. On the top of the world, on the top of the crown would be the letter M, and the reflection of M would be W. And so when we're talking about the letter M and W, we can begin to see things either from symbology connected to Norse mythology, or we can look into alchemy, or we can look into different deities and gods that begin with the letter M, like Mithra, Mary, Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, maybe Master Mason or Master Magician, things like that. And the WW we can connect to maybe the Wicked Witch of the West or the World Wide Web. And when we're talking about the World Wide Web, we're talking about the world. So the W is the world, and the letter M is the master of the world. According to Anita's art, she is at 12 o'clock, and her consciousness went over a rainbow bridge, although she did not experience this crossing. She bounced from a lower world to a higher world and began to follow and awaken to the sound of God, which is the bumblebee. Following the white rabbit, like Neo Anderson or Alice in Wonderland, is at 8 o'clock. And this reflects that we have begun to awaken to the number 11. White rabbit has 11 letters, and we have left a time or the body of a god and have gone into a new body and a new understanding and a parallel reality that teaches us more than what we were learning in the prior world we came from. The lotus that is closed up means that your lotus flower has grown and you have hopped from a lower world to an upper world, and we are cutting off relationships that no longer serve spirit because our frequencies don't match. We see the symbol of the frequency at 7 o'clock, where people who are in the number 7, the 7 continents, 7 seas, 7 days in a week, 7 musical notes, 7 metals, 7 chakras, 7 wounds of Christ, 7 spirits of God, is a little bit less than balanced. When you have an odd number, this odd number wobbles and makes us unbalanced and turns us into an Easter egg. So our original form is a circle. And so in order to make a circle, we need an even number, and this is the number 8. When we meet people who are still out of balance in the 7 chakras, they will aggravate our spirit, and we will not be able to connect correctly because they have not fully developed their spirit into being in balance with the number 8, which is the 8th flame, and it is a place, really. So notice the man at 11 o'clock, and he has a crown that says MW, but the M is the master of the world, and mastering the little munchkins, the little munchkins that are short of understanding. And learning not to have energies attached to your back overwhelming you, it looks like to me. There's some kind of description of people kind of burdening us, and that it's time to release ourselves from an old paradigm and an old world and start to rebirth ourselves as a new person, like a spring, like in the spring, like an egg hatching out, and you have this bird above your head that looks like it just hatched out of an egg. This is reflective that you have been born again, and this rebirth is helping you to fly your consciousness and bounce your consciousness to higher understanding so that your mind and the mind of God become the same frequency and the same. Your voice can be the voice of God, your hands will be the voice of God. But listen to what John says about the bull that is being cut in half, and this will relate us back to BAAL, where BAAL looks like a bull also. The name Ba actually means half bird, half person, and you have a bird above your head, meaning you're half bird, half person. And the god Al, or El, at the end of the name BAAL, actually means bull. So BAAL and bull are very similar. I just wanted to show this. It was a reading I did yesterday. Is a spear cutting a bull, and only see half of the bull. Bull here, spear there, and a rose. And I believe that that's the exact same story that you're talking about. Is that this is what we have to do to ourselves?
So what that is, Mary? So you know how I said Jupiter is Jupiter has to combine with Saturn, right, to make the heart to be functional. Saturn is ruled by Capricorn. All right, the symbol of Capricorn is a goatfish, right? Mm-hmm. The goatfish was artificially created. Okay, the reason they put the fish part, the fish could also be a serpent or a snake. The reason they put that fish or serpent onto the goat is because then it allowed the goat as Aries to rule the world. All right, it's an artificial control mechanism. Where that fish part of the goatfish came from, a Capricorn, is from a natural. It was one of the original earth gods, is what I call them, and they did not have human form. Our human form is artificial. It's man-made. Our original form were animals, and they scare us away from these animal hybrid things by calling them demons, and they're scary. Yet, after they killed them or captured them to use on their own, and then took their divine parts like horns, and they used it for themselves to mimic, they turned all their divine abilities and turned them into either weapons or jewelry of the outside.
So the story of Mithra killing his bull is really that he was a bull. He was an animal, and we were like dragons or whatever, and so that part of ourselves was killed, and then we were put into these highly advanced robotic whatever we are.
Yeah. So where did that fish part come from? It came from a creature of an earth god called Ophiotaurus. Ophiotaurus. Ophio is the snake part or the fish part of Capricorn. Taurus is bull. It's half bull, half fish. That's why whenever you see the sign Taurus, when you look at it drawn, you only see the front half. It's not a bull.
I couldn't understand why that showed
up. It's not a bull. It's an Ophiotaurus.
It's an Ophiotaurus.
It's not a bull. And so Mithra and all the stuff with bullfighting, what that is that they are taking actions. It's a ritual. It's taking action so that their etheric twin sees what they're doing to represent what is done then on the spiritual side. They reenact the killing of Ophiotaurus.
Oh, wow, rude.
To say that again.
Yeah.
But this is how I know they're full of shit, okay? Mm-hmm. After they did all this, right, they took them and they wiped their memory too. The sun god, guess who guards the gates of the sun god's palace and all this stuff? The bull man. So you're telling me first that it's a demon and we should be scared of it, but then you allow it to guard you. This is the observation that is vital. Because if you just listen to what they tell you and take it and anchor it, that's how we got here. See what I mean?
Yeah.
The original earth gods are animal forms. And when
And this is why an animal descended upon Christ in the baptism of Christ. Because why would Christ need to be baptized? Really? You need to
right.
baptize him? I mean, I thought that he was the Son of God. You need to baptize him? Well, in the baptism, it was really going underwater and coming out of the water and seeing the truth, and that is that we come from animal. This is why the holy dove is an animal that descends.
Mm-hmm. And they call it animal because what is the word animal? It's anima and mal. Anima meaning the animating factor, right? The Holy Spirit, the dove, anima, and mal, bad. That's why when they recreated animals, they made us eat them because that mimics us eating animals reinforces them killing Ophiotorus and utilizing.
So now we understand why Adam and Eve had Cain and Abel, because basically we became Cain and Abel, which is really spells out cannibal. You might like to know that the frog and the lotus flower is very connected to Buddhism. I often get a frog coming to me in my dreams. It comes to me as a frog, and then it turns into like a Buddha, and it starts talking to me, and it tells me things about my spiritual progress and ascension and my awakening. And so for your lotus flower and your frog to be up in a higher realm, this reflects that you are stepping into your adepthood. And please be confident about this, because the allegory of the story of Christ is Christ left the temple at 12 years old. You're at 12 o'clock. And he didn't come back for many years. He was tempted. He went away from human beings. And I think that we have to fast from people. There comes a point when it's not about we're the good guys, they're the bad guys. We just have to fast from human beings to clear our energy so that we are not connected to the World Wide Web. And when we fast from people, we're able to bounce to a higher realm and learn from the teachings of God and become like a shaman, or become like the Buddha, or become like the Christ, walking on water, raising the dead. If we do go back to the realm of the lower world, we will do so for the greater good and as the feet, the hands, and the mouth of God. And we are obedient to the Holy Spirit and to God. So when we're talking about Baal, when we're talking about Yahweh or Yeshua or all these different gods and deities, from my readings, they are places. Now, Solomon has come forward in our readings many times, and Solomon says, I am not a person, I'm a place. A god no longer has a physical form. They literally become a place, and they can manifest as a man and even have a story of their life as a myth, or as an allegory, because the power of myth affects the consciousness of human beings. So whether they existed or not doesn't matter. The power of myth is a story that helps us reconnect to lost links within our subconscious mind, within our hearts, so that we can step into a new day, a new age, a new world with confidence, and not feel guilty about leaving people, not feel guilty about getting away from religion, not feel guilty that we're betraying the Holy Mother or Jesus Christ, and know that we are meant to move through their bodies and ultimately, in the end, become obedient to God, the Holy Spirit, our higher self, not only for ourselves, but for the greater good. So, and that's what I'm seeing in your art. You seem to have this energy that is very much connected to that bull that John is talking about. And so you are connected to not only the bull, the half man, half bull energy and Mithra, but Baal was connected to the bull. And so you're one of the original humans, one of the original races of people that were half man, half animal. Now, this takes us back to the Golden Compass, where the children were cut from their animal, and that is true. This is why Mithra cut the bull in half, which wasn't a bull. In alchemy, your piece is speaking of balancing your male and your female, and the staff that you're holding in between the male and the female is showing the original form of man, and that is the Adam and the Eve, before they were cut in half, were half animal, half human. Now, not all of them were bulls. I've read that the original Adam and Eve race were Sephram angels that look like dragons, flying dragons, but these dragons had beaks. They look like birds. And that's what I think is being shown for you, that's who you are and where you come from. And awakening to these things, I think, is very important so that you aren't polarized by deception and artificial intelligence and being in a trap. So just know that you've moved into a new paradigm and a new world, and start fasting from people, fasting from your old self, and start building your new world and your new understanding, and build your spiritual muscles by feeding your spirit at this time. Continue to study also about things that aren't in conventional history, and start looking at things in a different way, because we live in a kaleidoscope, and this kaleidoscope changes every time it turns, and we go into a new body of a god, like a parallel timeline all the time. And the names of these gods are either Yah, meaning the moon dominates that reality, or it ends with the word Yah, which is like Freya, Gaia, Haya, Emma, Yah. And any time that you have Yah at the end, this means that you are in a world that dominates darkness, and that's good. Right? So thank you for what you have to teach us, Anita, and we will continue to discuss your piece in the comments.